Good afternoon. So this is the continuation of the topic that we discussed yesterday, which is the mathematics of in geodesy. So we are going to continue discuss the remaining topic, which is the Napier's rule, the law of cosine for the spherical trigonometry, and the law of sine, and how are we going to solve the missing parts of a spherical triangle and its application. And another example, we are also going to discuss the spherical excess and how we're going to compute the area of a spherical triangle. Okay, so I shown you already on the last lecture the the law of sine and the law of cosine of a spherical triangle. So yesterday I showed this to you. This is the I hope you again since this is the application of your basic mathematics, which is one of the trigonometry. So this is the formula for the law of cosine for a spherical trigonometry. So this is for if given is the sides. So if given is the two sides of the spherical triangle and a angle, so we can compute the angle opposite to this interior angle. So this is for the sides. How about if we are going to compute the interior angle of the spherical triangle? So we can use this formula. So cosine A minus cosine B. This is the interior angle B. Cosine C. This is capital C is the interior angle C. Sine B. Sine your I know there is an error in this formula. We have A, B, sine C. This is sine C. Take note, this is sine C. Sine C, sine B, cosine of the side opposite to this angle here. So I'm going to, before we proceed to the application, some problem solving, which is we'll be using the law of cosine. We are going to derive first how did we solve this um, formula, how this formula was made uh, from the plane trigonometry. So for in the plane trigonometry, there is a law of cosine. Uh, Law of cosine for the plane trigonometry. We have here, I need to change the pen. Okay, so for the plane, we have for the plane trigo. For the plane trigo, we have the law of cosine. Law of cosine. We have so we follow the c is equals to c squared is equals to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of uh, the angle opposite to this side here. So we all know that this is the cosine law for the plane. So for the spherical trigonometry, so our basis is this formula here. So I have here an illustration. So since we solve the formula for spherical trigonometry from a plane object or from the plane illustration. So we have here assume that this part here, this triangle A, B, C, A, and back to O is a slice of a sphere. So medyo may curve yung ating ditong A to C. Since imagine, since sa slice mo, you take a part of that sphere and then that's it. So A, B, C, D. So ito yung portion pa. Ang yung shape na is parang tetrahedral. And since we compute or derive the formula of that spherical trigonometry from a plane, we project this curved portion of the sphere into a straight triangle. So yung ating projection on this curved surface on the sphere is given by B prime, A prime, and this one. So yung chord na ABC, we denote that one as B prime A. So itong triangle na color green. Okay, so the law of cosine is derivation. So we are going to derive that law of cosine, pinakita ko kanina, using the triangle A prime O B prime. Where is that A prime? This is A prime to O, then to B prime. So the base of our illustration, itong pinaka-base, A prime hanggang O. Since this is three-dimensional, A prime, O hanggang doon sa B. So itong triangle mismo sa base ng ating illustration. So based on this illustration, we can compute the side of A prime to B prime. So this is A prime to B prime. We can compute this one using the law of sine for the plane, which is equivalent to is A prime squared, A prime B prime squared is equals to A prime O squared plus B prime O squared minus 2A prime O B prime O cosine B. So what is this equation? So we only apply in-apply lang natin yung cosine law. Excuse me. In-apply lang natin yung cosine law ng plane triangle, which is kanina, ayun, C squared equals to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of the angle C. So that's it. So we can compute C. So yung iti-take note natin na C ay position ng A to B. So if this is our C squared, and yung ating line AO, and then yung ating line BO ay si B squared, and then minus 2, this is A, and this is B, and the cosine of the angle. So if we take a look on our illustration, balik tayo sa illustration, this is AO, this is AO, and then this is yung sa likod ay si OB, and then this is A prime, B prime, and the angle in between is CB. So this is the interior angle, CB. So that's why we have here cosine B. So sa ating illustration, yung C squared ay si A prime, B prime. Yung opposite nito ay yung angle kung asan dito. Since yung ating opposite ng A prime, B prime ay si B, nandito si B, so yung ating formula ay magiging cosine of B. So yung B yung ating interior angle opposite to this side of AB. Okay, so another illustration, we will be using the same formula sa ibang triangle. So let's try another triangle, which is using A, B prime, and B. So ito yung ating projection ng naka-curve na portion sa sphere. So i-project natin siya, parang isi-stretch natin siya para maging plane yung ating illustration. So we have A prime, B prime, and B. So itong portion na to, may iba yung kulay blue. So this portion here. So this portion, we can still compute the value of A prime, B prime, same dito. But yung ating side, AB prime, so we are using this portion here, A prime, B. So this is now our new side, plus B prime, B. So this is the other side here, minus 2, this A prime, B. So ito lang kung anong value dito, you can copy here, 2AB. Anong value dito, di copy here, cosine of B. So why still we use angle B? So this is the projection this is projection of this triangle here, of this spherical triangle here, then we can say that the value of the angle here is similar to the value of the angle here, which is also the same sa angle in here kung saan natin na-stretch yung ating spherical portion ng triangle into a plane. So, kung ano yung angle dito is the same to the angle found on this illustration. Okay, can you follow? So, next we have another triangle. So, we have triangle A prime. We have A prime. We have B and CO. So, kung hindi masyado nakikita, ito yung triangle na nakaharap on the illustration. Si A, B, and CO. So, ito ang triangle na to. A prime, B, and CO. So, we are looking at this triangle. By simply looking at this triangle, we can determine the value of angle C. Diba? Since this is a triangle AOB with another is one. So, meron tayong angle dito na angle C. Okay, so since we use cosine, diba yung cosine ay adjacent. This is the adjacent side of the triangle. And we have here, since this is triangle, we have the right angle here. This is the hypotenuse, which is the EO, yung ating hypotenuse. And then, yung ating adjacent, we take the value of this portion here equal to 1. So, since this is just an illustration on how are we going to derive, so we can use any constant value here. So, we just used 1. So, we take a unit portion or, for example, a unit circle of the sphere. So, cosine of your C, yung adjacent niya is this one, A to B, which we denote equal to 1. And ating hypotenuse ay yung projection natin na A O prime. So by using this one, we can determine the value of A O prime, which is equivalent to, pag we transfer AO to here, then AO is equals to 1 over cosine of your C, and 1 over cosine using the trigonometric reciprocal identities, 1 over cosine is equivalent to secant, diba? So, meron lang tayong AO prime is equals to secant. So, take note of this one. So, another, since tapos na tayo in this portion sa harap, now, the next triangle that will be using is the triangle on the back. Yung sa likod, yung triangle O, B, B prime hanggang doon. So this is the triangle that we are referring to. O, B, B prime hanggang pabalik. So this triangle doon sa likod na part. So in this triangle, what can we say? We have the angle A. Diba? Makikita natin si angle A. So using this one, we can solve the angle A. So we draw, we have a separate illustration on that. So since this A, B, and B prime, this is O, B, and B prime, this is angle A, right? So if this is angle B, we can determine that your B prime O, this is B prime to O. Since similar lang siya kay A prime to O, so similar, so secant A. Since yung ating A prime to O ay secant C, since angle C dito, and din sa likod ay A, so secant A. Another, we have A prime, B prime, A prime B. Asan yung ating A prime? So this is A prime and the B. So is equivalent to tangent C, since yung ating C ay andito. So opposite over adjacent. So we can compute tangent C. Another also, and my illustration it was madali. We have B prime B. So we can solve B prime B by using the tangent of A. Okay, so using this this value, we have yung OA natin is secant C, yung BO natin ay secant A, yung A prime B is tangent C, yung B prime B is tangent A. Now, we are going to use this relationship and then we are going to substitute these values in our formulas here. So, you copy BO and then substitute the secant A, tangent C, and tangent A. So, what will happen? Si AB, so as is si AB, since yung ating AB yung ating kailangan, we have A prime O, ano si AO? This is equivalent to second. So, magiging second na to. Si B prime O, this is also second. So, second A. So, this is second C, second A, another second C, second A. Si cosine B, so I don't have the value of the cosine B since we need to determine the value of B. Another, we have for the next illustration, yung ating AB prime, si AB ay equivalent to tangent C. So this will become tangent C. Si B prime B is equivalent to tangent A. So tangent C squared, tangent A squared minus tangent A, tangent C, cosine of B. Okay, so we have now the values. So let's just rewrite this one. So, rewrite natin siya, evaluate. So, we substitute na since AO is second. So, second squared C. Since yung ating BO ay second A, andito na second A squared minus 2 second C, second A cosine B. And another one, another formula is tangent C squared plus tangent squared A minus 2 tangent C, tangent A cosine of B. Now, paano siya naging the same sa law of cosine na formula? So, take note that we have here, si cosine B, ito yung interior angle. Take note ha, this is interior angle. Cosine C dahil si secant C, si secant squared ay the same kay cosine C. Diba? Cosine C. This is cosine C. Similar kay second. Another, we have second squared A. Si second A is similar kay here. We have cosine A. Similar second C, sine C, and cosine B. So for the next, we have cosine B. Since this is the angle, we have minus cosine C. So this is the interior angle opposite to C, small letter C. We have cosine A plus sine C, sine A, cosine of B. So if the given is the side of the triangle, and there is, and you need to find the side of the triangle B, and may given na side, which is cosine C and A, then you can compute the value of the side B. So this is for the side angle side, and this is for angle side angle. So for the side angle side, if you are going to compute the value of the side, and angle side angle is we're going to compute the value of the interior angle of the spherical triangle. Okay. This is cosine C, cosine A. Supposed to be this is, take note for the correction, this is sine, this is sine A. Hindi naganan ako.
Let's take them in the proper.
Hi. For a while now.
So,
This is sine A. Okay, so let's try some practical problem here. So you have here an example of a spherical triangle. We have the interior angle ABC. We have ABC and the angles on the side. So when itong angle A, this is the angle from this portion here hanggang dun sa, so this is the value of the angle. So which means yung latitude niya, and this is the longitude. Here yung longitude, and there another latitude of the point which is P. Now, if we have a given A, so supposed to be this is A, which is 60. Meron tayong angle B, which is the 150. So this is 150, and this is 60. And we have angle C. So we have angle C, which is 60. So solve for the unknown parts of the spherical triangle having this A, B, and C. So we are going to look for what is the value of small letter C, which is the length of this portion here. We are going to look also the value of interior angle A and interior angle B. So using the formula in the law of cosine for the spherical triangle, we have here the cosine C. We can use this one. We have cosine C times cosine B cosine A plus sine B sine C cosine of your C. So by just simply we have simply, since C yung ating kailangan, which means the side of C, since may yung opposite niya ay may given na value which is 60, so we can use this formula. We have the side angle side. So the cosine C, so just substitute the value of this cosine, this B, this A, B, and C, and C. Then we can have substitute the value, then C is equivalent to 102 degrees, 30 minutes, and 14.1 seconds. So if we're going to compute, ng remaining is to compute for either A or B. Nasa sayo yun kung anong una. So we can solve for, we can use law of sine. You can use also another law of cosine. So it depends on you on which law are you going to follow. So for the law of sine, we all know that sine C, yung sine ng side over ng sine ng angle. Again, so this is equivalent to sine ng other side. So other side is A over sine ng A, yung capital, yung if this is A, yung opposite ng A, which is the capital A, another sine of B over yung interior angle ng B. So if we use this relationship, we can compute the other parts of the spherical triangle. So let's try. Since meron tayong C, we can use this one since meron na tayong C. Meron na tayong given na interior angle C. We already have the A, given na yung A. And if we are going to compute for interior angle A, we can use this relationship here. Okay? So we can use this one. So we're just trying to use this one. We can use by sine A, cos multiply this one. The sine A is equals to sine C sine A over sine A. And direct substitution. And sine B, pwede din since meron na tayo ditong C, T, meron, and we don't have B. So we can use this formula. So just cross multiply this one, and we can determine the value of A and B. So direct substitution. Now, the value of A is 50 degrees, 11 minutes, and 40 seconds. And for B is 26 degrees, 19 minutes, and 46.21 seconds. Okay. You can also solve this by using the law of cosine. But I prefer the law of sine much better as long as the given will suffice to compute the value of that angle. Okay. So we have this is new to you. We have the Napier's rule. So in the Napier's rule, this is only applicable if one side of the spherical triangle is a right angle. So if one of this interior angle C, B, or A is equal to 90 degrees, then we can use the Napier's rule. Okay. If you are going to follow the law of cosine and there is a 90 degrees na angle, we can get the value of undefined or syntax error in the calculator. So it will be better if you if you found one of the angle of the spherical triangle is 90, then you can employ Napier's rule. So sa Napier's rule, iti-take muna natin yung definition of the whole spherical triangle. So if this is the right triangle here in C, and the angle opposite to this right triangle are called complementary included side angle. So these are complementary side angle ng right angle C, which means ito yung mga angle opposite sa 90 degrees. So in this illustration, if this is the right angle, so the complementary is A, C, and CB. So now we take note that yung complementary is 90 degrees. So where yung ating dito is A, A dash A is equivalent to 90 minus A, 90 minus C for this one, 90 minus B. If you are going to compute the value of A, B, and C, you need to subtract 90 degrees. Okay, so the first rule for the Napier's rule is the sine of the middle part is equal to the product of the cosine of the opposite parts. For the rule number 2, the sine of the middle part is equal to the product of the tangent of the adjacent part. Medyo di pa nakuha. Okay, so let's start to write this one. For the rule 1, sine is equal to the sine of the angle is equal to the product of the cosine of the opposite parts. You say cosine alpha, cosine beta. For the rule number 2, the sine of the middle part is equal to the product of the tangent of the adjacent part. So it means if this is tangent alpha, tangent beta. As long as this alpha and beta is opposite, and for this second solution or second equation, the alpha and the beta are adjacent. So, tinatawag natin itong, para hindi namin makalimutan, si sin uop and si sin taad. Okay. Sin co-op ay 0, 1, which means yung sine ng product ng cosine is the product of the opposite side. And si sin taad is the sine of the middle part, which is the product of the tangent of the adjacent side. So sine equals to cosine of the opposite. And this is sine, the product of the tangent and the adjacent. So just remember sin co-op and sin taad. Okay, mnemonics. So let's try here an example. So solve for the unknown parts of the right. Take note, it is only applicable for the right spherical triangle in which yung A, we have given na yung isang part which is 62 degrees, 40 minutes and 30 seconds. Here. B is 160 degrees, 34 minutes and 20 seconds. And we have here yung ating angle C. This one is equivalent to 90 degrees. Now, we are going to look for the remaining side, which is equivalent to yung angle B, yung angle A, and angle C. Okay. So, on the illustration, kanina, di ba, sin ko open the sintaan. So, para mas madali, we will draw a pie. So, this is an illustration of a pie. Since this is a pie, so ilalabas natin yung may right angle, which is CC. And then, makikita nyo dito si C, yung katabi niya is si B and si A. So, you just copy on this pie, si B and si A, yung katabi ni C. And then, yung opposite ni C is si A, C, and the B. So, sa opposite ni this is C, yung opposite niya ay si A, C, and B. Okay na gets? Parang yung ating spherical triangle is ipa-flat natin into a pie para mas madali natin na-figure out kung magsasign ba tayo co-op or magsisintaan tayo. Okay, so let's try to solve. Since given na yung ating A, given na yung ating B, given ng A, merong C. So let's try to solve dash A, dash B, and dash C. So by using the same co-op, the same pad, so using the rule 1, since yung rule 1 ay sin co-op, yung sin co-op ay sine of the C, cosine B, cosine A. So if this suffice the rule, sine of C, asan si C? Si C ay nandito. So ano yung, since sin co-op, opposite ng C, by using rule number 1, we can use C. So yung opposite ni C ay si A and B. Since meron na tayong A and B, so we can compute now the value of C. So we have here, just direct substitution, we have sine C equals to cosine 160 cosine A. So C, since opposite siya ng right angle, may bar siya. This means may bar sa taas, which means minus natin 90 degrees yung kanyang answer. So if we multiply this one, the answer is negative 25 degrees, 39 minutes, 6.36 seconds. This is C na may bar. This is not yet the value of the angle C. To compute the value of angle C, we need to subtract this by the complement, which is 90 degrees. So therefore, yung ating C ay 90 minus the value of C bar. So C now is equivalent to 115 degrees, 39 minutes, and 6.36 seconds. So let's try. So meron na tayong C. So we can solve now A prime and B prime. So what are we going to use? Are we going to use sintaad or sin co-op? So it depends on the situation. So if you are looking for A, yung adjacent ni A is CC and B, which is given na. So pwede natin siyang gamitin since meron na tayong B and meron tayong C bar. So since adjacent to, we cannot use sin co-op. Ang gagamitin natin is sintaad since adjacent siya ng A. Okay? So using rule number 2, si sine A, dito tayo sa isang illustration. Okay, dito tayo. Si sine A is equals to tangent ni C and tangent ni B. Okay? Therefore, we just substitute the formula. Tangent ni C, tangent of this negative 25 degree, may dash to sa taas. Ay, may dash to. That is 90 degrees. So, C bar, wag yung C since may bar dito. So, wag yung final answer na C, yung C bar. So, tangent of this negative 25 tangent of B, which is 160. So A is equals to arc sine. So yung sagot is 9 degrees, 45 minutes, and 5.52 seconds. So the question is this the final answer? Not yet. Since yung ating A ay may bar. So therefore, yung A natin is 90 minus A bar. So this is now equivalent to A 3 degrees, 14 minutes, 50.04, 08 seconds. So for correction lang, dapat maglalagay tayo dito ng bar. Okay? Since sasubtract na tayo ng 90, so wala na siyang bar. So the same goes solution pag yung ating target ay CB. Pag CB ang ating target, meron na tayong C bar, meron na tayong A, then we can use rule number 2 since adjacent lang niya. If we want to use rule number 1, pwede na siya since yung opposite ni B ay si A bar and CB. So we already solved A, which is this one. So we can use rule number 1 for this one. So in using the rule, it depends on what value is already given. Okay, the sin co-op and the sin pad. So take note. So I have here practice exercise. I can give you the answer of this sample problem. If you want to, I can give you. Just message me just to check your solution. And for number 2, just the distance between two positions along the two equator. You can solve this one. So this will be, I think going to write this one in your learning task assessment. Okay, so let's proceed to the next topic we have here. So take note of this following formula, which is in computing the area of spherical triangle. So area is equals to 1/2. For the plane triangle, we compute the area, which is 1/2 base times height. Since we don't have the base and the height for the spherical triangle, we only have the latitude. For the latitude, we have here the sign of the theta, where the theta is equivalent to the interior angle opposite kay, if this is the angle, this is the theta, so yung adjacent angle niya na si A and si B should be written on this or substituted in this constant here. Okay, we have area is equals to B squared, another formula. If yung given ay hindi side, kundi yung given ay mga interior angle, you can use the formula B squared equals to sine A sine C over 2 sine B. So there are two formulas. So you can use either of the two. So it depends upon the given. If given yung mga sides, so it's better if you use this one. And given yung mga interior angle in one side, you can use this one. Okay? So for the spherical excess, so the spherical excess, since this is a spherical triangle, so there are errors in this spherical triangle. So the same with the adjustment that we employ in our spherical triangle or in the triangle itself. So we can use the error E. So this is denoted as E double prime, yung ating spherical excess. So you can compute the spherical excess with just the area of the spherical triangle over r squared, which is the radius of the earth, sine of 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 1 seconds. And then for the second formula, you can use this one if the spherical triangle area is over 1,600, 160,000 square meters yung length, and where yung r or yung radius ng earth is yung r, you have A, B, and C is the parts of the spherical triangle. Okay, so you can use this 1. So, kung yung isang side, for example, yung A, yung length na A is 180,000 na, then you cannot use this formula. You are going to use this one since it is greater than the desired 160,000. So use. Again, this R here is the radius of the Earth. So once you compute this spherical excess, you can apply correction on each interior angle of the spherical triangle. So how are we going to discuss? So let's say you already computed the spherical excess of the triangle. Now, how are we going to adjust the error of that triangle? So I have here, we're going to compute the error of closure of the triangle by adding the values of the interior angle. So let's say you need to determine muna the error of closure. How are we going to do that? By just simply adding the values of the interior angle. For example, A, B, and C. So you just add these 3 angles here. And now you can compute the error of closure if it's more than 180 degrees. So yung error of closure is the sum of the observed angle minus the sum of the computed spherical excess and 180 degrees. So this is the sum of the observed angle. Yung observed angle is the given A, B, C minus the 180 degrees plus the spherical excess. You need to compute the spherical excess first. Now, to adjust the individual angle, spherical excess and the remaining error must be distributed to each observed angle equally. So kung 5 seconds yung spherical excess, then you are going to divide it by 3 since yung interior angle is 3. Okay? So finally, yung ating adjusted individual angle, since kung makompute natin yung closure and yung spherical excess, we can determine the adjusted value of A, C, and B. So observed angle minus spherical excess over 3, since tatlo yung ating angle, plus minus error of closure over 3. So when are we going to use plus or minus? So you can use positive or negative here if the error of closure is negative. So kung nagkulang yung spherical triangle, so you can add. So if positive, you then subtract. Again, if the spherical the error of closure here is negative, then you need to add this value here. If the spherical closure or the error of closure is negative, then you need to add the value here. Now you can compute the adjusted value of your spherical triangle. Okay. So I will give you a sample problem on this topic on the learning task assessment. So just follow the workflow on how are we going to adjust the angle. So I think that's the end of the mathematics of sphere. So you just practice on the Napier's rule in the law and employing the law of cosine and the law of sine. So this is a basic, and when this will be used, your learning and your knowledge on this topic will be used in the next topic that we are going to discuss. So, okay, I hope you learned something out of this lesson. Okay, thank you and good afternoon.